Good morning. This is Stephanie Bryan interrupting your regularly scheduled program. Breaking news today in a case that has gained national attention now for the last 18 years. The case now dubbed as the West Memphis Three. A judge this morning ruled that the men accused of murdering three 8-year-old boys back in 1993 can go free. And a deal worked out with the state. Damian Eccles, Jesse Miss Kelly, and Jason Baldwin all pleaded guilty, and in exchange they are being let go. They're processing paperwork right now. No more word on when they will actually be let go. You might recall they were each convicted of killing Stevie Branch, Christopher Byers, and Michael Moore. Prosecutors said in a satanic ritual. They've been in prison since 1994. Miss Kelly and Baldwin serving life sentences, Eccles on death row. But they've been fighting their convictions for more than a decade, all along claiming their innocence. THV's BJ Steed is live in Jonesboro with the very latest. Hey there, BJ.
Hey, how you doing, Stephanie? As you mentioned, all three have pled guilty and all three will go free. When that'll happen, though, is totally up in the air right now. We're told that they will sign paperwork and they will all three be released. Damian Eccles' mother just got in her car beside me. We're wondering if she might get some comments from her right now. Wondering if she might just talk to us a little bit about what she's feeling. Miss Eccles, can you tell us what you're feeling right now at all?
I can't talk right now.
Are you happy? Are you relieved at all that this is over right now?
It's over, but it's not over.
Still very much in shock, still overwhelmed. You know, you kind of have to take into consideration that I've spent almost the past decade in absolute solitary confinement, so I'm not.
Now, the difference in news and information. This is today's THV at 6.
And thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Dawn Scott.
And I'm Liz Massey. We want to get straight to our top story tonight, one we have been following since it started developing last evening.
We have learned 2 Oklahoma State University coaches died in the plane crash in Perry County last night.
Women's basketball head coach Kurt Buckey and assistant women's basketball coach Miranda Cerna died in that crash.
Also, a former state senator died and his wife also died in the crash. Oklahoma State University officials say Senator Olin Branstetter and his wife Paula were both pilots.
Now, THV's BJ Steed has been at the crash site all day.
And BJ, what can you tell us tonight?
Well, guys, I don't think anybody here in the state nor Oklahoma expected this going into the weekend. We've been out here all day, plenty of agencies making their way about 2.5 miles southeast of where I'm standing, of course, trying to get any indication or glimpse as to what happened, what caused this plane to go down, killing 4, including those 2 basketball coaches from OSU. Now, this is just the initial investigation, according to NTSB officials. They held a press conference just after 5 o'clock. We brought that to you live. If you missed any of it, here's another look.
We will do our best to conduct a thorough investigation into the causes of the accident itself.
I-40 closed around Bisco. Drivers are being rerouted miles out of the way, extending people's drives by hours through small towns along state highways. THV's Pam Bacom joins us live from Bald Knob, one of those towns along the Detour route. Pam?
Hey Craig, this has been the scene all day here in Bald Knob. This is Highway 64 and it's just bumper to bumper traffic all day, moving quite slow. The Highway Department is forcing motorists to take this detour because Interstate 40 is partially flooded. The reason is the White River, which has flooded not only homes and farmland, but now parts of Interstate 40, which is a main artery for motorists. The river is going to go where the river wants to go, and it's just not big enough to contain the volume. Meanwhile, state troopers helped the long convoy of big rigs continue out of Bald Knob onto Highway 67-167, headed south, back down to Little Rock, and back to Interstate 40, where they wanted to be in the first place.
Good evening to you. Over the next 2 nights, we will take an in-depth look. Everything from the inmates' living conditions to an update on why all executions have been stopped. Plus, we will have a timeline of what happens on that final day of life. Tonight, we start with a look back, the history of Arkansas's death penalty.
In the 19th century, it was virtually the universal method of execution in the U.S., hanging, often leading to a slow and cruel death, the prisoner's neck broken.
They changed the course of history, brought fear and tragedy, and taught authorities how to try and prevent it from ever happening again. In our THV Extra, we take you inside the mind of an assassin, why they choose their targets, and what they teach the Secret Service. They are moments in time, moments that captured a nation, moments that changed America forever.
There was some hit in that car as well, we're not sure.
All at the hands of assassins. How did this study come about? In a rare interview, his first local TV appearance in more than a decade since the study,
we tried to look quite carefully at the motives.
Dr. Fine agreed to speak to us by satellite and take us inside the mind of an assassin.
You know, to get started.
The conversation begins inside the Pine Bluff City Cemetery office.
If you want names and dates.
Working on a mission to get the people listed in this cemetery records book, a proper tribute to their lives, their target.
Well, we know there's one right there.
This section of about 50 paupers and part of a THV profile in November.
I just couldn't get it off of my mind, and it just stayed with me so much until I just felt like I needed to do something about it.
Lifelong Pine Bluff resident Dee Dee Foster, part of the new driving force to get stone markers for the paupers.
Tonight we are where all of America is, at the intersection of constitutional and unconstitutional. The issue, the individual mandate contained in the Affordable Health Care Act requiring that we all have health insurance by 2014.
I don't find anywhere at all that in what the founders put in the Constitution, that it says that we got to purchase health insurance.
Republican opponents and Tea Party members like State Legislator David Meeks think forcing you to buy insurance is a deal breaker.
It's kind of like a building. You take that one little piece out, the rest of it will just tend to crumble.
So it's essentially a dead end because the requirement for everyone to pay into the system and fund health care reform goes away. But what if we go down the constitutional road? What will we see? Our first stop is Insured Town, USA. It's where 84% of Arkansans are, and for these people, the mandate in 2014 does not affect them at all. Here's Arkansas's Insurance Commissioner, Jay Bradford.
The big health insurance groups in the state of Arkansas, they'll remain the same.
In theory, health insurance rates for these people should start to go down.
So if everybody has coverage, it'll have a lowering effect for everyone.
No, I don't believe that it will. I think that if you look at Massachusetts healthcare law, they already have a mandate in place and they've seen premiums go up.
Now, come along with me to our next stop. This brings us to a much smaller community. The people that live here do not have health insurance, but they must get it by 2014.
In Arkansas, we have 400,000 plus people who do not have any form of insurance, either public, private, or anything else. That's all built into the cost of your insurance if you pay a premium.
So, how are they going to get health insurance? Let's go to the store. And this storefront represents where the uninsured will go to get their mandated insurance. The exchanges. You're going to have 4 primary ways to enroll when the time comes. The internet, 1-800 number, meet with an agent from a private insurance company, or a navigator. What's a navigator?
Those are people that you can talk to, they're not on commission, and they will advise you of your options.
It's a story that began 67 years ago. World War II, Germany. A world away from small-town Enola, Arkansas, home to Private First Class Gerald Bryant. Bryant joined the Army in 1944. But this husband and father would never make it home. Hi, is this Ben?
Yeah, that's right.
Meet Ben DeStarke, a 20-year-old Belgian postal worker with a deep connection to Private Bryant.
He and his units were engaged in combat in Murten, that's in Germany, and while he was trying to aid one of his comrades, at the bank of the river, he was hit by machine gun fire and was unfortunately killed.
This is the Ari Chappelle American Cemetery and Memorial in Belgium. 57 acres, the final resting place of 7,992 American soldiers. Plot C, row 13, grave 53. the place where DeStarke visits Private Bryant.
I try to visit his grave 3 to 4 times each year, mostly with all of our group.
DeStarke belongs to the Timberwolves Remembrance Group, Belgium.
And it's a group that tries to show the public here how an American unit looked like during World War II.
DeStarke says they chose Private Bryant's unit, the 415th Infantry Regiment of the 104th Infantry Division, because they fought and liberated part of their home region. To show his appreciation, DeStarke adopted Private Bryant's grave.
Family. It means something different to each of us, but for children in foster care, family is often only an idea, something to wish for. Tonight, we continue our partnership with the Department of Human Services, profiling some of the hundreds of kids up for adoption in our state. Meet 3 young siblings who desperately want and need a place to call home.
Bubba, you cook something out and get that hot cocoa out.
Like any 6-year-old girl, Diamond loves to play house, and she loves the color pink. But her favorite thing in the world is being a big sister.
Bubba pretended to be the daddy. I'm pretending to be the mom, and she pretended to be the dad.
Again, the severe threat has pretty much come to an end across most of the state. We're still talking about a line of storms affecting extreme parts of southeastern Arkansas, where there could be some wind damage and some 1-inch diameter hail. But all night long, thanks to Tracy Bean and Meredith Mitchell for updating our Facebook profiles, our Twitter accounts, all of our digital media. We're keeping you posted on that. And before I go any further here on this radar, I want to say, we were talking about earlier, sign up for our alerts, our text alerts on our website. You really need to do that. You really want to stay tuned with us on Facebook. You want to get a weather radio, because we're going to see another round of this possibly tomorrow, late evening into tomorrow night and Wednesday. Okay, Meredith, hit that button one more time, please. This is the line of strong and severe storms continuing to stretch from Arkansas or DeShay County down into Drew County and back into parts of Ashley County.
Before we go, I have one more thought on the Rodney Clark saga. First and foremost, if he doesn't want to be a Razorback, see ya. Don't want you, don't need you. Clark's outside shot will be missed, but this year's team is going to look a lot different. And the athleticism is going to be refreshing. The 5 guards on scholarship, Julyssus Nobles, Ricky Scott, Maudrakis Wade, B.J. Young, and Kai Madden, have some length, and they can get after you on defense. I think Rodney just saw the writing on the wall.
Oh, I hadn't even hardly got to sit down tonight. I thought Christmas Eve, I'm like, all right, this won't be too bad. Wrong. This is close to the North Pole as I guess you can find since Mr. Osborne quit doing his stuff.
He seems to add a few more things to the, to the yard, which you wouldn't be able to tell where he added it, but it's pretty amazing.
About 100 strings of lights.
Well, I think it's really cool, and I think it might be some old stuff that they haven't added so they don't have to really waste their money.
Best item, in between the trees, the upstairs window. It's my major award.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, don't get too excited. Just, the porch light will come on when you see it.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Liz Massey.
And I'm Craig O'Neill. You're watching THV First in HD. Our top story, rising floodwaters create yet another traffic disaster in Arkansas. The White River is inching onto Interstate 40 in Prairie County. The state shut a section down near mile marker 202 just about 4 hours ago. THV's Max Siegel is live along I-40 with the latest.
Hey, good evening, Craig. Here along this stretch of I-40 at Kerr Road in Lonoke County, traffic moving just fine at this 6 o'clock hour, but a much different scene further down the road at mile marker 202. That's where the westbound lanes of I-40 are closed. And if we could, let's go right to the video now and show you the scene that we shot earlier this afternoon in Prairie County, the White River flooding the westbound lanes of Interstate 40 and backing up traffic there. It sounds like I'm hearing that video now showing the scene there. Highway officials, state highway officials are urging folks to avoid this area in both directions if you can tonight, calling it a real inconvenience. Those are the words that came from Glenn Bullock, a spokesman for the State Highway Department, at a press conference this afternoon. Now, as for detours, the Highway Department is detouring westbound traffic at Brinkley onto Highway 89 North. We should have a map to give you the specifics there on your screen now. Eastbound lanes, they are not closed at this point, but the highway department calling this situation imminent in the eastbound lane, so any moment now it could change and they could be shut down. Detour there is set for Hazen if they move forward, again with eastbound, shutting down the eastbound lanes. Highway officials basically right now scrambling to get all this information out to drivers.
We're trying to get the word out from Oklahoma to the other side of Tennessee. It's imminent that I-40 is going to close, eastbound and westbound.
Now, Bolig says they have a crew, staff on call to make the call on that eastbound situation. Again, they are not closed yet, but they've got workers on call to make that call again when they have to do that. We will, of course, bring that information to you when we get that. As far as the westbound situation, a statement from the State Highway Department said this afternoon, quote, "It is impossible to project when those lanes will reopen." Craig, back to you.
All right, Max Siegel live tonight along I-40. Thank you. And for more on the detours, we have detailed instructions and a map on today'sTHV.com. Just click on the story. Drivers traveling through the Jacksonville area today woke up to some good news. All this week, Highway 67 and 167 has looked like this and was shut down near Jacksonville. Well, today, the highway is mostly back open. The water has receded, and as of now, only one southbound lane is closed.
Well, today, a new perspective on the massive flooding that's crippled much of the state. Governor Mike Beebe surveyed the damage by air, taking off from Camp Robinson this morning. THV chief photojournalist Orrin Hardcastle went along. The governor toured flooded areas of Jackson and Prairie counties, making stops at Jacksonport and Des Arc. He also surveyed areas along U.S. Highway 67 and 167 and communities impacted by the White River. Governor Beebe says he's never seen the water so high.
People need to heed the warnings from don't drive around barricades. If they tell you that it's going to be unsafe and you need to evacuate, you ought to pay attention to it, but some people don't.
We will have much more on the governor's flyover tonight on the THV 10 o'clock difference.
Arkansas's weatherman Ed Buckner joins us now with a first look at your forecast.
It just kind of hits you when you realize that folks are still dealing with weather-related problems, and it's been dry now for over 2 days, and we've got several more days where we will see dry and quiet weather. So at least that part of the spectrum, things are cooperating. Here's a satellite and radar. Nothing there to show you. A couple of clouds earlier today, but high pressure really building in, and that means lots and lots of sunshine. Current temperatures a little bit below average, about 10 degrees cooler than average, but nice. 69 here, 60 in Nashville, and 74 over in Oklahoma City, 73 in Dallas. Some of that slightly warmer air will try to move in tomorrow, but we really won't see a big warm up until later in the week. 48 our overnight low, and 74 for Thursday afternoon with lots of sunshine. But by the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, could be looking at highs in the 80s. And North Arkansas, a slight chance for rain tomorrow night. We'll talk about all that coming up.
All right, thank you, Ed. Water problems continue for the city of Clinton tonight. High sediment levels resulted in a boil order last week, which was just lifted an hour ago. Then bottled water given out by the city was recalled when the health department learned it too may be contaminated. THV's Meredith Mitchell spent the day in Clinton and joins us in the Information Center with more on this story. Meredith? That's Meredith in the having a little mic trouble there. She said that the boil order was placed and then bottled water was given to residents and recalled.
Very good. Packages of bottled water began trickling back to a water distribution center in Clinton Wednesday. Residents were given the water to cope with the recent boil order. But after the Arkansas Health Department issued a recall, the city wants it back.
I think we distributed about 13, 14 semi-trailer loads of water. And we've got 16 pallets that we're looking for to get back right now.
Mayor Roger Rory says the city bought some of the water and some is donated. Now the Mountain Pure bottled water may contain mold. The initial water problems began last week when debris from Greers Ferry Lake began flowing into water intakes. This slowed the plant's production and treatment.
What we're up against has kind of got us mystified because we haven't experienced this before. We've experienced dirty water a lot of times, but not what we're trying to treat now. We've never experienced it, and it's just real high turbidity, which is the percentage of dirt in the water.
The mayor says the good news is residents still have running water even if it's not up to drinking standards.
We can wash our clothes I shower in it. It's safe for everything except drinking.
Now, we did receive word late this afternoon from the Arkansas Health Department that the boil order for the city of Clinton has been lifted. However, residents who are on Van Buren County, Denard, or B Branch waters are all still under a boil order. Craig?
All right, thank you, Meredith. The water being recalled is distributed by Mountain Pure Water and has a best buy date of 2/27/2013 MPWA and 2/18/2013 MPWA.
The record rainfall across the state leads several Arkansas counties to enact emergency action plans. The National Weather Service is observing major flooding in southeast Arkansas's Monroe County. The White River runs through the city of Clarendon. It's currently risen to about 33 feet. Weather Service officials expect it to rise up to 5 more feet in the next few days, but Mayor Jim Stinson says he's not concerned about floods.
If our levee was weak, I'd be worried about it, but our levee was inspected last year, and they said it's one of the best levees they've seen.
The Jefferson County Office of Emergency Management says that area has been flooded for several days, and several homes and businesses already have sandbags. At this time, they are not taking any extra steps to prepare for additional floodwaters. And in Arkansas County, County Judge Sonny Cox says he believes the floodwaters are still 2 to 4 days away from that area. In a THV update, still no sign of a Lonoke County man authorities believe was swept away by floodwaters yesterday. Search crews were back out at Highway 236 today trying to find any sign of Carl Hess of Ward. Authorities say Hess was on his way to work when he went around barricades and was swept off the road by floodwaters. He reportedly called his wife to say his truck had stalled and he was in water up to his neck.
Despite sunny skies and nice weather the past 2 days, many Arkansans are still dealing with a big annoyance, standing floodwater, and it's not only annoying, it can be dangerous. THV's Lauren Clark shows us why.
Clean flowing water inside could be the difference between health and illness if you come in contact with standing waters outside. With recent flooding across Arkansas, many people have puddles and pools in places which normally remain dry. Ed Barham with the Department of Health says avoid them, even if they seem harmless.
If you have to be in it yourself, as many of us are going to have to be in cleaning up the mess that's happening all over the place, be careful to wear boots or rubber gloves and goggles, because the water that's washed up into your yards and into your homes may be carrying a number of things that are kind of nasty.
Barham reminds parents to be extra cautious about kids and pets, because they don't know it could contain chemicals or even raw sewage.
If you just even wipe your eyes or touch your mouth, your nose, you can carry some of that bacteria or the germs or the bad chemicals or whatever it is that's in that water right into your system.
Flower pots, gutters, garages, all could be hosting bacteria or parasites. Dangerous materials such as glass, nails, and other debris could also be hiding in standing water. If you have splashed in these waters, be sure to wash thoroughly your clothing and your body.
The thing you worry about the most are the things that can cause diarrheal illness and gastrointestinal illness, but there are other kinds of chemicals that would be in fertilizer, for instance, or construction use chemistry, that those things can burn or cause rashes or make you very ill.
In Little Rock, Lauren Clark, today's THV.
We've also got precautions and contact information for poison control centers listed on our website at today'sthv.com.
Well, still to come this month's Prescription Arkansas report.
Amazing new technology helping one Central Arkansas hospital save more healthy tissue in surgeries. Details in tonight's Prescription Arkansas.
Clear skies, high pressure means another nice night ahead. Not quite as chilly as last night, though. Your forecast is coming up.
THV, first in HD. This is today's THV at 6.
Tell you, the Weather Garden is the place to be this time of the year with the nice weather. I've seen people in the building out in the Weather Garden that I don't think have ever been in the Weather Garden before. Throughout the course of the day, they come out and relax and enjoy the Weather Garden Shack. Let's take a look outside. Our weather net from Heber Springs showing again a mostly clear afternoon. Just a beautiful day everywhere you go. With mainly sunny skies, it's currently 68 in Heber after a high today in the lower 70s. Not bad at all. Let's go to the maps. We've got high pressure beginning to push into the area. It's actually keeping our skies mainly clear, but this ridge of high pressure will slowly drift off to the east the next couple of days, and that will allow this little weather maker to move mainly through Missouri and Illinois, but there will be a cool front attached to that, and it could bring an isolated shower to North Arkansas. So we are mentioning rain chances. We didn't really talk about this yesterday. This is new. It should stay across North Arkansas, southern Missouri, as you'll see in a minute. 71 our high today, 70 the high in North Little Rock. We're at 69. It's just beautiful. Low humidity. The winds are light out of the southeast at 7, but notice they've shifted to the southeast. That's going to allow humidity to increase the next couple of days, and that'll of course help feed some of those showers if they do develop up north. Pressure's high at 30.31. Temperature-wise, it's pleasant everywhere, mainly low 70s and upper 60s. It's 67 in Searcy, 66 in Batesville, 69 in Benton, Sheridan, and Whitehall, 68 in England. Here's the way the forecast plays out. Mainly clear tonight, but as we head here into Thursday evening, that's when you see the line of showers and storms in Missouri, which a couple of them may extend down into the northern counties. This is Friday night around midnight. It shows rain moving towards central Arkansas. I think that's overdone. If we do get rain, it won't be heavy and it'll be quick moving. Again, mainly the north half of the state. Tomorrow night, we're going to go with a slight chance of rain. It'll be out of here Friday morning and back to sunshine and warmth for the next several days. Clear and cool overnight with a low of 48 degrees. Nice tomorrow. Sunshiny and mild 74. Our average high should be about 78. So still looking really good with a southeast wind at 5 to 10. And the rest of your forecast shows pretty nice weather with temperatures gradually warming into the 80s over the weekend with humidity increasing as well. Next week, some parts of the state could be pushing 90. Stay with us. We'll be back with more.
Today's THV is sponsored by Coleman Dairy, by Superior Auto Group, and Prescription Arkansas by Baptist Health.
In this month's Prescription Arkansas report, a new type of surgery for kidney cancer. Baptist Health is the first hospital in the state and only 13th in the country to get the latest robotic fluorescence technology. Using dyes, it helps doctors using the Da Vinci robotic system tell the difference between healthy and cancerous tissue.
Once that dye is given, within seconds, the normal kidney tissue takes up the dye and it turns green, but the tumor itself stays white or does not. So what it lets us do is pinpoint where that tumor is.
That means using the robotic system, they can cut the cancer away along with only a small part of healthy tissue to ensure they have removed the cancer. We will have more on this new technology tonight on the THV 10 o'clock difference.
Wes Moore joins us now with sports. Arch is number one. The trouble is that's the post position for the Kentucky Derby.
Well, is that bad?
Well, historically, yes.
Not good. Well, not what they were hoping for, I can tell you that. But it has happened before. That horse has won from the one spot. We'll hear from the jockey, John Court, next. Plus, we'll hear from Dave Van Horn. Hogs try to make it 2 in a row. It'll be easy to remember what number Arch is Saturday at the Kentucky Derby. The Arkansas Derby winner drew post position number 1. Bob and Val Yagos, the owners of Arch, and trainer Jinx Fires were there for the post position draw. Arch is 10-1 on the early betting line. That's the 4th favorite. Only 2 horses in the last 40 years have won the Derby from the number 1 position. Winning Colors in 1988 and Fernandad in 1986. Trainer Jinx Fires and jockey John Court, though, aren't too worried about the draw.
Well, Jinx got the best attitude that anyone can have as a human being, and he just said that's the way the one horse we drew it, and we're just going to make it work.
And your thoughts about it?
That's a big boost of confidence. There's nothing negative about his attitude or what his outlook, and he not only boosts my confidence, but instills a lot of confidence in the outcome of whatever the race may become.
And we'll be in Louisville for the Kentucky Derby. I'm leaving tomorrow. Reports start Friday. First pitch for Arkansas's game against Southeast Missouri State is just minutes away. The Hogs scored 5 in the first and 3 in the third to jump out to an early 8-0 early lead last night. Arkansas won 10-0 to pick up their 30th win of the season. True freshman Ryan Stanek gets the start tonight. Last night, the Razorbacks got their closer some work, and Dave Van Horn said that Nolan Sanburn looked pretty good.
I thought he threw real well out of the windup and not real good out of the stretch. That's what I saw. So that's something we got to work on. But he had good stuff. He had a good breaking ball and good fastball. That zone seemed to be jumping around a little bit.
The UALR baseball Trojans are getting a change of scenery tonight. They're playing number 10 Oklahoma at Dickey-Stephens Park. Ayanna Crystal joins us live with more.
That's right, Wes. They're expecting a big crowd for tonight's game as the Trojans take on the Sooners. And as you can see, it's the perfect night to enjoy some baseball. Fans are just starting to fill the stands. And Coach Norwood said it's the perfect opportunity for Razorback fans to cheer against the Sooners. Now, the Trojans are coming off a road trip against the Ragin' Cajuns where they went 0-3. And before that, they had a home streak and also went 0-3 against Florida International. So as Coach Norwood said, they took their losses and now they're trying to piece together everything they were doing right. His main priority is playing consistent. And he thinks if they do so, the sky is the limit. And they're looking to bounce back against the top-ranked team at a big stage at Dickey-Stephens Park.
We like it. It's a great opportunity. It's some things that we've talked about, hopefully doing even more in the future. And it's a beautiful park, and sitting in the surroundings in downtown here, just gives our kids an opportunity to play in a pro park where they all have dreams of being one day anyway.
I mean, obviously you get pumped up for every kind of game, but this is a big one. You know, a lot of guys from Oklahoma, and so, coaches from Oklahoma. So, we really want this one. But like I said, you want everyone.
All right, well, game time is set for tonight at 7 p.m. and we'll have all those highlights for you tonight at 10. At Dickey-Stephens Park, I'm Ayanna Crystal for today's THV.
All right, thanks a lot, Ayanna. And with the Trojans playing there, that means the Travelers are gone out of town. Travelers lost today at Tulsa.
All right, we'll be right back.
Coming up on today's THV at 6:30, normally our weekend outdoor report runs on Friday, but this Friday we'll be in Louisville for the Kentucky Derby, so we've moved our weekend outdoor report to today, and we've got something really special. We're going to be cooking up some carp. Carp.
Really?
Yes, carp.
We'll see that
the
often.
new white meat. Carp.
We'll see how that works out. The White House has decided against releasing the picture of a dead Osama bin Laden. Who do you feel about, how do you feel about that? Coming up in a THV Insider, we'll find out what some of you have to say about that, and we'll tell you what our policy is here at today's THV when something like that arises.
Now, from Arkansas's news and high-definition leader, THV, first in HD. This is today's THV at 6:30.
Hello, welcome to THV First in HD. I'm Dawn Scott. Here's a look at the day's top news stories. President Barack Obama says the White House will not officially release a photo of Osama bin Laden's body. Mr. Obama announced his decision during an interview Wednesday with CBS show 60 Minutes. The White House had been weighing the release of this photo, in part to offer proof that bin Laden was actually dead. However, officials had cautioned that the photo was gruesome and could be inflammatory. We will have more on this debate later in the show in a THV Insider. After Navy SEALs killed Osama bin Laden, they discovered $750 cash and a pair of phone numbers sewn into his clothing. Al-Hussein, the al-Qaeda leader, was ready to run at a moment's notice. Right now, intelligence analysts are poring over computer equipment U.S. forces seized when they raided the compound. CIA officials are hoping to find valuable information. Speaking on Capitol Hill today, Attorney General Eric Holder says he has serious concerns about American safety from possible revenge attacks for bin Laden's death. Holder testified today he thinks bin Laden's death ultimately will make the U.S. safer, but he is still trying to assess the risk that terrorists may avenge this killing. President Barack Obama appears to be seeing a bump in his approval ratings in the aftermath of Osama bin Laden's death. The number spiked to 57% in a New York Times CBS News poll and 56% in a Washington Post Pew Research Center poll. It recently had been below 50%. Tomorrow, the president plans to head to the World Trade Center site in New York City to remember victims of the 9/11 terror attacks. Former President George W. Bush will not be joining him, even though Mr. Obama did invite him. Former president spokesperson says Mr. Bush chooses to remain largely out of the spotlight after his presidency, but that he continues to celebrate with all Americans. He says that this important victory in the war on terror. Floodwaters shut down a large section of Interstate 40 between Memphis and Little Rock today. Right now, the westbound lanes at mile marker 202 are closed, and the closing of the eastbound lanes, officials say, is imminent. That is near where it crosses the White River. Westbound traffic will be diverted at Brinkley and directed to Little Rock via Bald Knob. Eastbound traffic will exit at Hazen and be diverted to DeWitt before crossing the White River and back to the interstate at both Brinkley and Forest City. Better news for those traveling from Searcy, Cabot, and Jacksonville to Central Arkansas. This is what it looked like yesterday. Today, all but one southbound lane of Highway 67-167 is open again. And still no sign of a Ward man who is believed to have been swept away by floodwaters in Lonoke County. Search teams were back out along Highway 236 hoping to find some sign of Carl Hess. Authorities say he was on his way to work and apparently drove around barricades when his truck was swept away by floodwaters. His truck was found at the scene. A Hungarian liquor company has set up a vending machine in the airport at Budapest to give departing guests one last taste of their product. The machine is called a Schnapsomat or Schnapsomat. I'm not quite sure. It's in the presidential lounge. It dispenses brandy called Palinka, and that's a brandy made of cherries, plums, and apricots. It's free of charge. The lounge is mainly used by visiting diplomats who've spent the day attending some very stressful, sometimes heated meetings.
Don't think you'll see that in any break room anytime soon, but it certainly looks invigorating. Craig said, choosing his words carefully. Your reaction to this issue of showing the photograph of Osama bin Laden has blown up on Facebook.
Well, and Twitter and everywhere else all around the world, people have really mixed opinions about whether these photos should be released or not. And we'll look more at this in our THV Insider coming up later in the show.
Also in tonight's Capital City cold case, police need your help solving a Christmas Day murder. Also, we have an update on a cold case from a couple of months ago. There's been an arrest in a case. We'll have the latest on that.
Ed has a look at our forecast as well, and it looks like we need some drying out weather, and that may be what we're going to get.
Yeah, we've had a couple of days now. Looks like we'll get several more. There is a slight chance of rain tomorrow late, mainly across North Arkansas, but for the rest of the period, it looks to be dry. Here's our live view weather net from Searcy this time around. A little bit of a breeze there with clear skies and a current reading of 68 degrees. High today there made it to 71, so it is very pleasant and temperatures continue to be a little cooler than average. But there is a warm up in store, and we'll talk about your extended coming up. Wes?
Have you ever eaten carp? I know.
No.
You ate some, and you ate a little bit this afternoon, and it was good. You liked it.
It tastes like carp.
Good. Yes, it was. I like it.
Well, the details on cooking carp a little later.
All right. Thanks so much, Wes. Well, stocks closed lower today. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 84 points. Here are the numbers. We'll be right back.
Today's THV is sponsored by Wilson's Home Improvement.
Chuck.
In tonight's THV Insider, the president's decision against releasing Osama bin Laden death photos. Today, President Obama revealed his decision on the CBS show 60 Minutes. He told our nation that showing such photos would potentially inflame Muslim anger and create a national security risk. The president also says he doesn't want them potentially used as propaganda tools. U.S. Navy SEALs killed bin Laden Monday. They stormed his compound in Pakistan, shooting him twice, once in the head, once in the chest. Photos have been described as several sources as gruesome. They sparked debate in the Obama administration. In fact, it was all an effort to strike a balance between addressing doubt that it was in fact bin Laden and unnecessarily offending the Muslim world. Ultimately, the president decided to keep the photos sealed. The entire debate pushed us to take a look at THV policy regarding such photographic images. Normally, we do not show dead bodies or body bags on our air, but the magnitude of this death is such that we did examine whether we would break our own policy, because a blanket policy obviously doesn't cover every circumstance. Ultimately, we decided that we would stick with our policy. We set this standard and we would not violate that had the photos been released. If they had, we may have provided a link to the government-issued photos at our website, todaysthv.com, but we would not have shown the photos on our air. What do you think of the president's decision? We asked, and the response was overwhelming. Here are some of your Facebook and Twitter replies. THV Facebook fan Noel Sorrows says, good choice, President Obama. I don't want to see pictures of a corpse all over the media. I take the president and military officials at their word. I have no reason to think that they would make up such a lie. Another THV Facebook fan, though, John Boren, writes, nope, don't agree. I believe that would give closure to some and hush up some of the conspiracy theorists. Why did we have to watch replay after replay of 9/11 and are not allowed to see this? Just doesn't seem right to me. On Twitter, @TBassett1972 says, you can argue it either way, but I think most of America wants to see them for closure. We had to watch American people jump out of the burning towers and see all the pain he brought to us. If you don't want to see them, you have that option. And @Josh Mesker writes, of course it's hard to call a photo proof anymore, but what about the raid video instead? We do thank you all for weighing in. Again, our goal is to bring transparency to what we do, letting you in on how we cover the news. Email me anytime, thvinsider@today'stv.com, and I'll respond in this segment at 6:30. Much more coming up after a break.
THV, first in HD. This is today's THV at 6:30.
Nice weather does continue. It looks like it'll stay for the next couple of days. We've got mostly clear skies. This is our weather net from Searcy. Matter of fact, mostly clear skies, the rule all over the state. Current temperature 67 there at the White County Courthouse with a south wind between 5 and 10 miles an hour. The high there made it to 71. They started out at 48 degrees. It was a chilly start, and we'll be in that ballpark again tonight. Let's look at the satellite perspective just to prove to you not much here going on. There were a couple of areas where we saw some cumulus clouds try to form, but with high pressure, it's sinking air. And anything that tries to develop usually gets cut off, and that's pretty much the case. Now, there is a system coming this way in about 24 hours that will scoot across Missouri, and that'll bring us North Arkansas, a chance for rain tomorrow night. Just a slight chance there. 71 was our high today, and again, a cool start, 46. The record low was 40, so we were closer to the record than the average. North Little Rock, 50 and 70 of the extremes there, and we're still in that surplus with rainfall. Don't need any of that anytime real soon. 69 was sunshine, dew points low, humidity nice at 47%. The winds are light out of the southeast, and the pressure, well, it's high at 30.31. Now watch the 48-hour forecast and you'll see what I'm talking about. Nice tomorrow. Until we get to tomorrow night, that system moving through Missouri and Wisconsin and Illinois will bring a trailing cool front through North Arkansas, and that's tomorrow night around 7 or 8. And then you see what happens around 1 o'clock in the morning. It'll skirt the northernmost counties. It won't bring a lot of rain, and it will be a fast mover. But if nothing else, we will cloud up tomorrow night across North Arkansas as that system moves to our north. 48 tonight with mainly clear skies and a light east wind at 5 miles an hour. Tomorrow, sunshine, mild, still running a little bit below average. 74 will be our afternoon high temperature. And 78 by Friday, 81 on Saturday, and a little bit more warmth coming in toward the weekend. Still not much in the way of any rain expected anytime real soon. Well, we have a new cold case tonight and an update on an old one, so stay right here.
An attempted robbery leads to murder, and after more than 5.5 years later, still no arrests. In tonight's Capital City cold case, the cases may be old but not forgotten. That's why today's THV is partnered with Little Rock Police to try and solve them. And Officer Bruce Jones with the Little Rock Police Department joins me now to talk more about this cold case. Tell us a little bit. It happened on Christmas Day.
That's correct, Liz. It did. It was December 25th, 2005. The Little Rock Police Department received a call to a unknown trouble, which was at 5300 Baseline Road, the Quail Valley Apartments, around Building C.
Now there were, tell us, there was 2 shooting victims. One survived, one did not.
That's correct. The victims were Marcelino Velasquez, and that was a 37-year-old Hispanic male. He was shot several times and died from his wounds. The other was a Mario Cruz, which was a 35-year-old Hispanic male, and he was shot and subsequently recovered from his wounds.
And they were brothers?
That's correct.
And this was an apparent robbery, I guess?
Believe it was. From what we've been told, they approached their apartment or residence there. They were approached by 2 young black males as they were about to enter the residence who demanded their money. They refused to give them their money and were subsequently shot by either one of the parties. We're not sure who did the shooting in this, but one of the 2 young black males evidently fired several shots, striking both of them.
And the brother that survived, was he able to provide any details? Did they know these suspects, or have any idea at all?
There appeared to be no relationship between them and the two men that shot him. He did provide some details. It's just not a whole lot to go on, really enough to sew the case up.
Any other witnesses?
No, and it was dark at this time, and so pretty late and or early in the morning as you'd have it, and there wasn't a whole lot of witnesses who have come forward in this.
What do you want to say to the public that maybe might know something about this case?
Well, this is one of those where we have to have somebody call in. We know that there may have been somebody in that apartment complex that saw something or heard something, and even if it's just something small, we got to have it. We got to have some help from the community and call in and tell us if they know anything about this.
All right, well, call police on this case and you can remain anonymous. Also, we have an update on another Capital City cold case we brought you a couple months ago. You may recall Anthony Terry was killed back in January of 2004. There has been an arrest in his murder.
That's correct. Antonario Norris has been charged with capital murder, been served a warrant for capital murder in this case, and he was arrested in New York last week.
All right, and he is coming back, and this is the case where you actually needed us to let the public, there may have been a female witness in the case. She did call and it led to the suspect.
That's correct, and without going into depth about who called in or whatever, we did receive some additional information, and the detectives were able to piece that together and obtain an arrest warrant for Mr. Norris.
All right, we'll have another update when he comes back to
I
Arkansas.
believe we will.
All right, Officer Jones, thank you. Wes Moore joins us now with a look at what he has coming up in sports. Wes?
Carp, it's what's for dinner. Doesn't quite sound right, but the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission is trying to convince you and change your mind that carp is a good meal. Stick around, the details are next. All right, we've moved outside to the weather garden today to do a little cooking, filleting. You're going to show us a little bit about what is this big thing?
Well,
and I should announce our guest. I mean, he is a world famous chef from Louisiana, Philippe Parola.
Yeah, celebrity is overrated. But yeah, this actually is a Asian carp. These are the invasive species of carp that are come from actually China. They were introduced actually in Arkansas in 1973, and since then they took over, and we have them from Ohio State down to Louisiana State. It's not a bad thing, so because we're going to turn this to a beautiful ordeal. It's going to be a fairy tale when we're going to be done with that.
Well, this thing is huge.
Yeah,
so it's got to have a lot of meat in it.
Absolutely, and they get up to 100 pounds actually.
Oh, wow.
These are the silver carp. There's two species, the silver carp and the big head. This is a dangerous one, the most aggressive fish. They jump out of the water 15 feet in the air, and they can definitely hurt you really badly if you get hit by them. And it's an incredible scenario. We call them actually the silent killer, because they eat plankton, and that's a food source of all the other larvae from other fish, brams, bass, even frogs. The little baby fish must feed on plankton, and that's what it is. These fish eat all the plankton, so it's displacing all the other fish, native fish. So it's a big deal.
So why isn't this fish more popular like to eat, like a catfish or something?
Well, it is. We're going to talk about it. This is the meat of this fish. It's beautiful. It's just like, I mean, look, redfish or tilapia or catfish. It's beautiful looking. It's white. It's nice. But if you put your finger here, you will feel the roll of bones.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I have fried over here some here. Let me kind of clean up my fingers. And you know, we're going to take a little piece and we fry it here and we're going to cut it. You see how beautiful the meat is right here? It's white, it's flaky, just like crab meat. It tastes excellent. You can take a piece and try it yourself. It is just incredible. But we're going to go to the bottom of this. How do you like it?
It's
unbelievable,
great fish. It's
right?
really good fish.
So here is a bone that come out of this fish. Literally, the big bone, there's plenty of them. And that little boy here, that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a huge problem. When you put your knife into it, you encounter bones right under the skin, in the middle of the fillet, all the way down. It's bones, bones, bones. And if any chef, any cooks, any sportsman try to cut this fish in pieces, because of the bones, they don't like it. They think it's a trash fish. Yeah. So the bottom line is, how can we, because it is so good, it tastes so good, how and what should we do to put this marketable, put it on the market? Well, it's to remove the bones. In a year and a half time, I have actually worked with food technician, food technology, food science, and so on, and I designed a process that literally would take the whole fish, and we can, from that fish, produce boneless fish fillet, pre-cooked, flavored, for the retail market and wholesale market, meaning that your wife will go to the grocery store and buy a frozen, beautiful a piece of fish, and you can put in the microwave and have a great dinner on the silver carp.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Deboned.
Deboned, totally deboned. No bones, no nothing. And it's a beautiful, wonderful deal. And the beauty about this, it's going to create jobs. It's going to put the fishermen back to work. It's going to boost the economy. And consumers win because they're having a great fish to eat instead of this 85% of fish consumption in this country is imported. You know that. It's a huge deal. Vietnam, China, India, Pakistan, Africa, you name it, all these countries shipping boatload of this fish over here. It's a huge ordeal, and it's unsafe because they are raised in polluted water and so on. It's amazing, and everybody can now start to understand this. We're having the best fish here. Look, no mercury because it's a filter feeder, you eat plankton. So very low in mercury, very safe to eat, high in protein, high in omega-3. This is the best kept secret. Look at what we're doing. We're going to bring that and dig gold out of this fish, create jobs, and bring the best fish there is to the consumers. Isn't it wonderful?
It is a great idea. Thank you for your time. Appreciate your being here with us today.
Not a
Guys,
problem. My
back
pleasure.
to you.
Sold.
Wow.
I am putting carp in our pond out behind our house. Forget the koi. The carp are
all
in.
that out of fish.
Got a carp ranch.
Hey, it was a beautiful day to be out there
be
eating
cooking
carp.
Cooking out in the weather garden. It's a nice night too for dinner outside or a walk. The nice weather will continue for the next several days. 74 tomorrow, 78 Friday. A little bit warmer into the weekend, but still, it looks like it'll be an extended
So
period.
glad to see it.
Yeah, so glad to see extended period of dry weather.
Hungry?
Yeah, you got any
some more?
more?
Carp? We had a big plate of it in the
I don't
newsroom
know.
today, and we all got to try a little bit of the carp, and honestly, it tasted like fish.
Chicken. Oh.
Fish.
Very
Tasted-
light.
Yes. White
And
and light.
good source of protein,
That's
except
what
you
it
are
said.
frying it, but still, yeah.
Yeah.
And I did not know about the plankton, so that makes it even, not necessarily
Healthy
health food, but it's
fish.
healthier than I thought it was going to be, because I thought that was a garbage fish.
No, it's not. He made that clear.
See?
Coming up at 10, we got the UALR baseball team playing at Dickey-Stevens Park. The Razorbacks baseball team and Harding's baseball team has done something they hadn't done in a long time. Details at 10.
All right, thanks much, and thank you for watching the news. Always on today's THV.com. We'll see you later.
Thanks for making today's THV Arkansas's news leader and most watched television station. The latest news and weather are on today's THV.com 24/7. THV, first in HD.